Recording. Good morning and welcome to today's blab. It's my great pleasure to have my friend Clare Evans with me today to talk about time management. Morning, Clare.
Good morning, Stephen, and thank you for inviting me. It's very exciting, my first blab.
You're most welcome. Now, we go back about 10 years.
We do.
We first met on Academy, didn't we?
Yeah, back in those heady days of Academy.
Yeah, I mean, that was the place that did everything before Facebook came along.
Oh, it did. It was wonderful. Yeah, it was a great environment, that, and I've met so many people that I'm still in touch with now. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with the Prospect Networking Group, we've got about 250 people who we all both knew then, who we're still in contact with, which is absolutely brilliant to stay in touch with people for 10 years. Yeah. Right now, I'll stop waffling and we'll get things underway. And my first question is, what is time management?
Well, time management is one of those sort of classic phrases that doesn't really exist, because you can't manage time. Time just is. It's there. We all have exactly the same amount of time, but it's how we use our time that differs. What you can do is manage yourself to manage your time better. So it's really about the habits you build around how you use your time, what you get done on a daily basis, how you plan your time, how you prioritize, how you make choices. Okay. It is something that's pretty important to most people. They always say, "Oh, I could do with some of that."
Well, there's never. I mean, there is a saying, and it's true. There's never enough time in the day if you're in business, is there?
Yes, whether that's actually true or not is a different thing, because there's always time to do the things that are important to you, and that's where the difference is.
Yeah. Now, you've had articles published in the Financial Times and in Men's Health, and I'm going to just now hopefully get this on camera.
Yay!
Published Time Management for Dummies. And this is oh yes, good, right, we're doing the
that's the newer version. Why am I back to front?
Okay, I'll have to check that out. The updated version,
the revised version that they did, and that seems to be the one that's out there. So you've got one of the original ones, Steve.
I have. It's also signed. Which is brilliant. How did that book come about?
Well, it came about because I was writing a lot of articles around time management productivity, and that's when I sort of set myself up as a time management person, because I realised that it was something that a lot of people aren't very good at, that I'm sort of okay at. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily brilliant. And Wiley approached me, their commissioning editor approached me and said, would I be interested in writing the UK edition of Time Management for Dummies? So I said yes.
Right. Okay. And what sort of process was it? Was it an enjoyable process, or?
Oh, it was quite hard work, because I sort of thought, well, I've written articles on time management and I've got a lot of content, so I can just plug that into the book. But they have a very, very quick turnaround. So it was a 9-month process from start to finish. So from when I started writing it, signed the contract, and they wanted each chapter to come in as I'd completed it, and then there was a sort of editing process. So I think I had 4 months to actually write the book, or write all the chapters and send them in and do them in their format. And then I got them all back after a few weeks and had sort of a few bits of editing to do and additional things to put in. But I'd sort of carefully set aside my chunks of time to do my writing, and inevitably ended up with the sort of looking at a blank page thinking, right, what was I going to write about in this chapter? So it was enjoyable, and it was a very good discipline to go through. And it's been great having the book out.
Yeah, so you've been able to use the book to promote your services?
Yes, yeah, very much so. And I get quite a lot of contact from people who've either read the book and then get in touch. It's very useful finding it on through Google, because obviously it gives me that sort of added credibility, and I know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Well, I know you do, because I'm going to put my hand up here and say, not only have I read the book, I refer to it quite frequently. And of course, I was on one of your courses
Yeah, many
a
years
few
ago.
years ago, when I was snowed under with work, and we worked out a plan where everything got done. Because it is an individual thing, isn't it, time? I mean,
it is. It's definitely. It's there is no one size fits all solution. There isn't a sort of one particular module or system that you can apply that's going to work for everybody. So that's why I work with individuals and small teams, is finding what's going to work for you, because that's what's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
How you can apply it to your daily life.
Right. Now I'm going to use the structure of time management for dummies. How do you take control of your time?
Planning is the biggest thing. You work out what's important. So what is it that you need to get done, whether it's on a daily, weekly, monthly, or even a yearly basis? What's really important to you? And then plan your time accordingly. Because yes, you've only got so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
We all have exactly the same. So you have to allocate time to what's important.
Okay. So time planning is the sort of core of getting you organised.
It is, yeah. I think that's one of the most important things, and it's also one of the things that people say as soon as they start planning and they've prioritised what's important in their life, it really does start to make a difference. And that's a lot of what I also sort of drill down to, is to find out what's really important and going on in people's lives that they need to focus on, because there's a lot of people sort of running around trying to do everything and jumping into all sorts of different sort of either different hats or juggling different plates. And it's thinking, okay, you can't do everything. What's really important to you? What's going to make a difference? And then plan those things in.
Now, you're working with people who are, from people who are working from home to corporates.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And particularly people working at home first. What is your advice to them, or what should they be doing?
A lot of working from home is about creating a routine. So having knowing what it is that you want to do, and then planning your day around that. The fact that people want to work from home or are able to work from home often means that you have the ability and the flexibility to do other things, particularly mums looking after children. So there's school time that you need to fit your time around. There's also the sort of day-to-day things that go on at home, but it's having a structure and routine, which can be 9 to 5. It can be you want to start earlier, start a bit later, finish early, finish late. Have some structure in your week that is going to help support you working from home. Something I hear about quite often with people working from home is that they find it very isolating. So get out and about, go to meetings, have meetings with clients outside of the home, go to networking meetings. Online social media is great for having some form of interaction. And meet up with friends every now and then in the week, because that gets you out of your four walls and seeing different faces.
I agree. I mean, it is very important, isn't it? Not just have your head down all day, but to actually take a break now and then and get some fresh air and refocus. I mean, I quite enjoy going out for walks. I'm training for the Sarsen Trail at the moment.
Oh, right.
Which is between Avebury and Stonehenge. 26 miles, 385 yards. So I'm going out and about every day, just doing a few steps. This will be my third attempt. I've done it twice. I've completed it. So I mean, cycling is your thing, isn't it?
Well, cycling has become my thing, and yes, I'm in training slowly for my next cycle ride, which is the Brighton to Paris, middle of May. So having been away for a few weeks, I've sort of came back, had a fairly busy week yesterday, managed to get out on the bike on Tuesday, and I'm going out for a training ride tomorrow on Saturday. It's one of the longer training rides, so hopefully I'll survive that. But I think that's also something that's really important, is for people to find time in their day to get out and exercise, whether it's going for a walk around the block, or just getting some fresh air, getting out of whether you're at home or in the office, for a bit of fresh air and exercise.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Cycling all that way.
Yes, I think it's 150-ish miles, just over 150 miles.
Right, okay.
3 days. We're not doing it in one day, 3 days.
Oh, that's yeah. I mean, you would want to take a break from the exercise, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's for charity. If you want to post a link, bottom right-hand corner, it will stay there forever. If you want to post a link to your charity donation page.
Oh, right.
And also, whilst you're doing that, I, of course, as we take a break for a moment, I will post a link to your website. We must forget these things.
Right, so post it.
Right, so we have your website, and yeah, okay, right, and we're back on track. Now, we talked about working from home, and one of the biggest distractions that people have is email.
Yes. Not just working from home. Email is one of the biggest things that people either get distracted by, or it takes up their time. And I mean, I've just been doing some research on the whole sort of email topic, and it's one of those key things that I run workshops and seminars, and I've done webinars in the past on, is purely around email and how to manage it more effectively.
Mm-hmm. Right, okay, which leads us on, because email is part of the problem, to procrastination.
Okay.
I mean, I'll put my hand up and say, I mean, I need to come on one of your courses again, because it's definitely a problem. I mean, things have developed in the last few years, haven't they? I mean, we've got Facebook, we've got Twitter, we've now got Blab, we've got Postgate, we've got Meerkat. So many distractions, and we've persuaded ourselves every one of them is worthwhile.
Well, that's one of the things about when we were talking about working from home, is it's amazing how interesting the washing up and the sort of cleaning the house suddenly becomes when you're working from home and you've got something that actually you'd quite like, you should be doing, but you find something else to do it. And yeah, I mean, I'll hold my hand up too. I'm great at procrastinating at the best of times and with the best of them. So I completely understand that. And again, breaking the procrastination cycle really comes down to understanding where the procrastination is coming from. What is it that's stopping you from doing it? And quite often there's fear of failure that comes in with that, sort of, I don't want to start it because I might not either achieve it or be very good at it. Perfectionism is something that I found is a really strong driver for why people tend to put things off, because they want to do it perfectly. Or there's the classic not having enough time to do it, when actually if you think about different ways of approaching it, you can get it done.
Yeah, but it's something.
And how important and where it fits in with your overall goals and objectives of what you want to achieve. Because if it is important, then find time to do it, and if it's not, then stop worrying about it.
Right. Okay. If now we've gone working from home, sole trades and partnerships. When you work in a partnership, is it a different deal time-wise? Is it things you've got to in working together?
I mean, working together or working as part of a team or in an organization, it's all about using the skills that you've got available in the best way. So again, the same idea of working out what your overall goals are. If it's with a partnership, who's going to do what and when you're going to get things done. Right. And particularly with the tools that you've got these days, you don't have to be sitting next to each other. You can be working virtually, and there's all sorts of tools to help you stay on track, know what's happening, where projects are, status of clients, etc.
Right. So project management software, what sort of thing can companies and partnerships use to do
goodness. There are quite a lot of industry-specific ones
Okay.
That are out there. So, for instance, I work with quite a lot of financial advisors, and they've got a whole range of tools and compliance that they need to work with. There are sort of simple online tools that plug into things like Gmail. I'm using Trello at the moment as one of them. Actually, that's potentially a blog post I can do on sort of various tools, A, that I use, and B, that other people can use.
That will please Barbara, who's watching us, because
hi Barbara.
Hello Barbara. Thank you for joining. If you have any questions and you want to join us on camera, then please do so. We're going to sort of be talking for about another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll pause the recording, and then it would be lovely to see you on camera then, if you wish. Okay. Now, in getting the word out there, you run workshops across the UK, yeah?
I do. It's interesting that I quite often get asked to run workshops. In fact, I've had so many requests this year, which is great. And also, even while I was away, I was getting emails from people saying, "Oh, can you just run a workshop for us, or can you come and do this for our team, or can you run I do shorter lunch and learn sessions." But something that I want to do this year, which is sort of building on a few of these topics that we've come up with, is actually restarting some of the webinars that I was doing. So perhaps having a monthly or even a sort of a series of weekly webinars, because again, that's changed from when I first started doing my teleclasses, which I think was one that you were in, Stephen.
That's exactly it.
Technology has changed so much, and there's so much more available. But I also do webinars with other people. I've got a couple coming up end of this month, beginning of next month.
Brilliant. Okay, again, if you want to drop a link in there, please do, because this will last forever, and people will.
I haven't got the link to mine, but I've got.
All right. Okay. Any links at all you want to put in there. Babs has just said that it's great to see you at last, and it's a way of meeting and catching up.
It is.
You know, and it's a great assist in keeping in touch with people. I'm just going. Right. Okay. I'm just going through. I have a crib list, which I rarely refer to, but I just did. Okay. Now I'm very interested to see that you're doing work with the Printers Trust.
Yes, I've been a Printers Trust business mentor since, well, when I was working in the corporate world was where I started, because my manager at the time suggested working with the Prince's Trust, because he'd just started being a business mentor, and I've worked with them ever since. So that's got to be 15 years now, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm just working with one person at the moment. Sometimes I have two. And they've changed as an organisation over the years that I've been working with them, and how they work with and manage their volunteers. And I work as a business mentor. So you help people that have applied for a grant, or sometimes even going through the process of applying for a grant to set up their own business. And then you mentor them over the course of 2 years initially. There's an optional third year. So I'm into the third year with my current business, she's a lovely business, lovely person. And you just sort of meet with them on a regular basis and just help them through that whole process of being in business, starting up the business, finding customers and clients, which is really difficult for younger people, and as you know, for anyone starting up in business. So they've just got somebody there that can offer advice and help them and point them in the right direction.
I think it's wonderful to see it in action, and you're enjoying it, exchanging.
I do, yeah. I love it. I've had a sort of a variety of businesses over the years, and it's nice to sort of see them go off and do their own thing. And it's interesting how many businesses, there's a few businesses in Brighton that I come across that's started as a Prince's Trust business, or with the funding from the Prince's Trust, and have now gone on to be very successful businesses. Yeah, so it definitely works.
Just to go political for a moment, Princess Trust gets a bad deal, doesn't it? Bad press. Wrongly so. It's one of the best things that Prince Charles has ever initiated.
It is, and there's so many different things that it does. The business grants is just one part of it. They do a lot of other things where they're offering courses to young people, and it's purely focused on, especially the grants, is for people that can't get a grant from anywhere else. So they can't get one from the bank. They might have been in trouble. They could have been in prison, but it's about getting them back on the road to being sort of self-sufficient in more ways than one, from being able to look after themselves, learning new skills, not just setting them up in business, but supporting them in other ways as well. So yes, I think it's a brilliant charity from that point of view, what it does for young people.
And to get started, the young person will just need to, what would they need to do to apply?
For a young person, they basically, I mean, if they go to the site, I think there's all sorts of different elements. So it's not just applying, but they go through the process. They get taken on a business sort of introduction course, which is a 5-day course to make sure they're serious about setting up in business initially and what their business plan is. They then get assigned, when they apply, assigned a person that takes them through the startup and the planning process, which may or may not be the same person as their business mentor that they end up with. And then they have to fill in an application with details of, they create a business plan effectively to say what they want the money for, how much they want. And then it goes before the Prince's Trust Board, the grant committee that meets to decide on the allocation of funds. And then they take it from there.
Right, okay. I'll post a link to Prince's Trust afterwards. After we conclude our conversation. Right, okay. If somebody was to say to you, what are your top, I'm going to do it, what are your top 3 time tips?
My top 3 time tips: work out what it is that you actually want to get done. So what are your overall goals and objectives? What do you want to achieve, whether it's on a personal level or a work level? So you've got to have that, where are you heading, set from the beginning. Then you plan what it is that you're going to do to get you there, in terms of knowing, and I always say break down from what your annual goals are down to what does that mean that you need to achieve either on a quarterly basis or a monthly basis, and then down to a week, and right, what does that mean I need to be doing today in order to help me achieve my goals?
Right. So that's reverse engineer it all.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Then it starts to make more sense, because then what you're doing on a daily basis fits in with what you want to achieve on a longer term basis, which also helps with distractions, procrastination, because if it's not part of the plan, then effectively don't. Right. Sometimes easier said than done.
Which leads on nicely to your time audit.
Yes.
Which people can download, I believe.
They can indeed.
I have.
Oh.
Right. What's contained within the audit?
The time audit is it's something which I've had it now for years, and obviously you've sort of completed it a while back, and it seems to just be a really useful tool for people to work out what their time habits are, where they need to focus, and look at a few tips and ideas and strategies on what they need to get done. So just stuck the link in there.
Thank you.
And it's just a really good starting point, and I provide free email feedback initially, so there's absolutely no obligation other than downloading it and completing it. But it's always quite interesting, the people that download it and then 6 months later, a year, sometimes even longer, I'll get I downloaded it ages ago and I haven't completed it, but here it is. And then they can sort of take it from there, whether they want to sort of move forward and actually start working with me. Obviously not everybody does, but yeah, they can complete it, and it at least gives them an idea of, oh yes, this is where I need to focus, this is where I'm not so good. They can make their own decisions about what they need to change as well.
Thank you. Now, one thing that has changed over the last 10 years is your website.
Oh yeah, and it's going to change again.
The technology's changed, hasn't it? We're now expected to have, if we want to make any inroads at all, a high quality business site, aren't we?
I mean, Babs, I know, is into WordPress, and I am finally coming into the 21st century and going with WordPress. I must admit, I wanted to do it a few years back, but when I got my website redesigned, I was sort of swayed away from it, which I shouldn't have listened and just gone with it anyway. But it's being rewritten at the moment. It's done okay, my website. I know it's maybe not the sort of the best website in the world, but it gets found, which I don't want to lose that. It gets people connecting with me, and it's got sort of the right information. It's got lots and lots of resources on there, which is one of the reasons I'm redoing it. Is there is actually so much information. There's lots of articles, newsletters, resources, just to sort of clean it up and trim it down a bit.
But the resources build up over the years, don't they? You just add to them.
They do.
And you suddenly find you've got a bank of knowledge.
Potentially, I keep adding in courses or online courses or the webinars or different programs I'm running at the time, and there's just masses that ends up, and it all gets a bit cluttered. And so I'm cleaning it up and putting it into WordPress.
Right. Well, we've covered a whole range of topics in the last half hour, which has flown by. If we close off the recording side, if you'd like to say thank you to the people who have joined us and a message to them as to what they should be doing, or could do.
They should certainly take a look at my website and download the time audit. It's completely free and there's no obligation to do anything further. But please, please, please just fill it in, even if you only do it for yourself. And if you email it back to me, I'll provide you with free email feedback, and then you can take it from there.
Brilliant. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to switch the recording off now. And thank you everyone who's joined us. And look forward to seeing you on the next Blabs. And I think it's quite possible that Claire will start blabbing herself.
No.
As an alternative to webinars. You don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. And
thank you.